He despised W.E.B. Du Bois and the NAACP. Now, let's hear a letter he wrote. Here's the background. Marcus Garvey to Negroes of the World. Marcus Garvey lived 1887 to 1940. He was born in Jamaica, West Indies, to Marcus Garvey Sr., a mason, and Sarah Jane Richards, a domestic worker and farmer. In 1914, while still in Jamaica, he founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association to unite people of African descent the world over. He opened a chapter in Harlem in 1917, and the next year he began publishing The Negro World, which became the most widely circulated black newspaper in the country. By 1919, his organization had more than 2 million members across the African diaspora. Garvey also launched the Black Star Line to return people of African descent to Africa. In 1925, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for mail fraud. President Calvin Coolidge commuted his sentence in 1927, and Garvey was deported to Jamaica. He spent the last 5 years of his life in London. This letter, which was published in his newspaper, was the first message he wrote from prison to his supporters. Now for the letter. In Atlanta, hell, y'all had a lot of black folks in prison, didn't you? Back in the day? Today too, probably, right? Anyway, at the top it says Atlanta Prison, February 10th, 1925. Fellow men of the Negro race, greeting. I am delighted to inform you that your humble servant is as happy in suffering for you and our cause as is possible under the circumstances of being viciously outraged by a group of plotters who have connived to do their worst to humiliate you through me in the fight for real emancipation and African redemption. I do trust that you have given no credence to the vicious lies of white and enemy newspapers and those who have spoken in reference to my surrender. The liars plotted in every way to make it appear that I was not willing to surrender to the court. My attorney advised me that no mandate would have been handed down for 10 or 14 days, and is the custom of the courts, and that would have given me time to keep speaking engagements I had in Detroit, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. I hadn't left the city for 10 hours when the liars flashed the news that I was a fugitive. That was good news to circulate all over the world to demoralize the millions of Negroes in America, Africa, Asia, the West Indies, and Central America. But the idiots ought to know by now that they can't fool all the Negroes at the same time. I do not want at this time to write anything that would make it difficult for you to meet the opposition of the enemy without my assistance. Suffice to it say that the history of the outrage shall form a splendid chapter in the history of Africa redeemed, when black men will no longer be under the heels of others, but have a civilization and country of their own. The whole affair is a disgrace, and the whole black world knows it. We shall not forget. Our day may be 50, 100, or 200 years ahead, but let us watch, work, and pray, for the civilization of injustice is bound to crumble and bring destruction down upon the heads of the unjust. The idiots thought that they could humiliate me personally, but in that they are mistaken. The minutes of suffering are counted, and when God and Africa come back and measure out retribution, these minutes may multiply by thousands for the sinners. Our Arab and Riffian friends will be ever vigilant, as the rest of Africa and ourselves shall be. Be assured that I planted well the seed of Negro or black nationalism, which cannot be destroyed, even by the foul play that has been meted out to me. Continue to pray for me, and I shall ever be true to my trust. I want you, the black peoples of the world, to know that W.E.B. Du Bois, and that's underlined, and that vicious Negro-hating organization known as the Association for the Advancement of Colored People are the greatest enemies the black people have in the world. I have so much to do in the few minutes at my disposal that I cannot write exhaustively on this or any other matter, but be warned against these two enemies. Don't allow them to fool you with fine-sounding press releases, speeches, and books. They are the vipers who have planned with others the extinction of the black race. My work is just begun, and when the history of my suffering is complete, then future generations of Negroes will have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I, and I know you too, believe in time, and we shall wait patiently for 200 years, if need be, to face our enemies through our posterity. You will cheer me much if you will now do even more for the organization than when I was among you. Hold up the hands of those who are carrying on. Help them to make good, so that the work may continue to spread from pole to pole. I am also making a last-minute appeal for support to the Black Cross Navigation and Trading Company. Please send in and make your loans so as to enable the directors to successfully carry on the work. All I have given to you. I have sacrificed my home and my loving wife for you. I entrust her to your charge, to protect and defend her in my absence. She is the bravest little woman I know. She has suffered and sacrificed with me for you. Therefore, please do not desert her at this dismal hour, when she stands alone. I have left her penniless and helpless to face the world, because I gave you all. But her courage is great, and I know she will hold up for you and me. After my enemies are satisfied, in life or death, I shall come back to you to serve even as I have served before. In life, I shall be the same. In death, I shall be a terror to the foes of Negro liberty. If death has power, then count on me in death to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake, or a cyclone, or plague, or pestilence, or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. Would I not go to hell 1,000,000 times for you? Would I not, like Macbeth's ghost, walk the earth forever for you? Would I not lose the whole world and eternity for you? Would I not cry forever before the footstool of the Lord Omnipotent for you? Would I not die 1,000,000 deaths for you? Then why be sad? Cheer up and be assured that if it takes 1,000,000 years, the sins of our enemies shall visit the 1,000,000th generation of these that hinder and oppress us. Remember that I have sworn by you and by God to serve to the end of all time, the wreck of matter and the crash of worlds. The enemies think that I am defeated. Did the Germans defeat the French in 1870? Did Napoleon really conquer Europe? If so, then I am defeated. But I tell you, the world shall hear from my principles even 2,000 years hence. I am willing to wait on time for my satisfaction and the retribution of my enemies. Observe my enemies and their children and posterity, and one day you shall see retribution settling around them. If I die in Atlanta, my work shall then only begin, but I shall live, in the physical or spiritual, to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, black, and green around me, for in the new life I shall rise with God's grace and blessing to lead the millions up the heights of triumph with the colors that you well know. Look for me in the whirlwind or the storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come and bring with me countless millions of black slaves who have died in America and the West Indies and the millions in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. The civilization of today is gone drunk and crazy with its power, and by such it seeks through injustice, fraud, and lies to crush the unfortunate. But if I am apparently crushed by the system of influence and misdirected power, my cause shall rise again to plague the conscience of the corrupt. For this I am satisfied, and for you, I repeat, I am glad to suffer and even die. Again, I say, cheer up, for better days are ahead. I shall write the history that will inspire the millions that are coming and leave the posterity of our enemies to reckon with the host for the deeds of their fathers. With God's dearest blessings, I'd leave you for a while. Marcus Garvey. He was a hell of a guy, wasn't he? Calling folks idiots. Tell me what y'all think. Leave a comment. Told y'all I'd keep reading them every once in a while. Letters from Black America, Pamela Newkirk.